giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
Yeah, okay, so let's jump into the Chezy Champs recap. So 42 teams came to do battle with too many notables to, to list them all, because all 42 really had fantastic seasons for the most part. Want to highlight the couple that came from super far away. Like we've already mentioned that PNW made a pretty strong showing. There was also 3478, the Lambot came from Mexico. And then one of my teams, 3538, the Robo Jackets came from Michigan, all the way from Michigan to Chezy Champs. When I saw them signed up for it, I didn't believe they were actually going to end up going. But
they were signing up as a novelty or something.
Yeah, or just to see if they could get it or what. But Allison, their drive coach, was super committed to it when I talked to her. So I'm glad to see they went and they competed, because I know that was such an exciting thing for them. There wasn't much doubt in the minds of many that the Chezy Poofs would have a great shot at the first seed. But the team that dominated the qualification rounds with the perfect 10-0 record and 39 out of 40 available ranking points was the Newton Division winner, 1678, the Citrus Circuits. We also had the highest park climb, auto, and ownership scores at Chezy Champs. Taking the second and third seeds were our guest teams 3310 and 254, who had records of 7-3 and 6-4 respectively, and 29 ranking points. And then I believe the fourth seed was a personal favorite of mine, Team 4911 out of PNW. Big fan of them. Kevin, we discussed this a bit before, but 254 had a tough qual schedule. Was still able to capitalize on your ranking points. Do you mind sort of giving us a rundown on the qualification matches, like sort of how it went?
I mean, still got 29 ranking points, and 6-4 is pretty darn good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Qualis was rough. We had a lot of really close matches, a lot of unfortunate breaks in terms of just like some of our partners that they broke, or they broke in a previous match and they were really scrambling to get things together. So there was a lot of question marks going into the match. But it was really daunting. Just like usually at Chezy, it's pretty competitive. You can circle like 2-3 matches. You're like, man, these are going to be real tough. And for this event, it was like I just pretty much circled the whole schedule. It's just like, God, this is all these are really hard matches. And especially with this game, you have a bad auto. It really doesn't matter how good your robots are. If you have a bad auto, it's some of the times it's just impossible to come back. And our auto was having a lot of struggles. Our gym is very well lit compared to first events, so we had a lot of reflections that actually affected our scale detector. So a lot of matches went very poorly because our auto, which was usually 3 cubes at champs, mostly getting the fourth, dropped down to like 2, maybe 3 throughout Chezy. And yeah, it was extremely tough. I mean, there's just some matches, especially I think Quals 41, which was like, it was just like, wow, there's 6 really powerful scale bots. Win against 3538, 3310, 4911, and then we had 3309 and 842 in our alliance, and we actually 842 and 3309. I think we had a quals match together, Arizona North. So we've had the experience together, and then we just got absolutely dominated on the scale. It was just nuts. Like going against 3538 was really fun. That was one of the better scale robots we've ever played against, and yeah, every match was just, didn't know how to win most of them. Just
you're like, well, we're gonna see what happens.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was pretty coin flippy. It was just like, man, I hope we have a good auto, because if we don't, I don't think we can come back. These are just too good of teams.
Looking at like from the schedule wise, when you go into qualification matches with something like Chezy Champs, there's a lot of high power teams there, right? So how do you negotiate or work with the other teams to kind of accomplish what you want to do and what the alliance wants to do as well?
It's a little weird coming from the 254 perspective, because a lot of teams will just kind of give us what we want without any argument.
Yeah.
But
you're a well-known team who kicks a lot of ass, right?
Yeah, so it's I'm not quite sure how to handle, like, the negotiations were usually pretty good, but we know most of these teams. And then for the PNW teams that we've never gotten a chance to really play with, because they're in PNW, so don't play in the regular season, don't get a chance to play with everyone at champs. But every team that we partnered with, everyone is really smart. Everyone was really willing to work with us and whatever, and everything went really smoothly in terms of pre-match strategy. Just everyone was usually on the same page. These are all great teams, so everyone knew how to play the game really well, and mean, sometimes we had a bad strategy and we didn't really realize it until the end of the match, but for the most part, I think we had a good idea going in and then just lost on the execution to the other teams.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was in regards to your autonomous mode, that the lighting was too bright. Did you know that like before the match was starting, you just couldn't compensate in time, or is it something like you just kind of found out? Like, I mean, I know it's your event, your gym, but there's still a lot of things you don't consider for something like that. So was this previously before Chezy Champs you knew about it and couldn't compensate for it, or was it happened at Chezy Champs and you kind of found out then?
It's one of those things where at an official event, we usually send out our programming students to for field calibration time. We ask the event to put on the match lighting, and the events would do it, and then we get a chance to calibrate the camera or make some software edits to compensate for Chezy, since those kids were responsible for setting up the event and volunteering. We gave them like a minute, and it kind of looked okay, and we're like, all right, we'll just have it happen. And then when we rolled it out for the first couple matches, it wasn't working very well. And then after a little bit of debugging, before other matches, we figured out that it was just too bright.
Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support. Go to patreon.com/funfrc.